Hello, my friends. Hope you're all doing well. I thought it's been a while since I've done any sort of intro or like getting to know you video. I did one on TikTok a while ago, um, but this now I'm sharing more stuff and I'm putting it on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and things like that. And I've met loads of new people recently and gone through a lot of changes recently. I thought it might be a good idea to update it. So I've written like 10 questions to hopefully kind of get to know me. Don't know whether I'll do them all in this video or do part one and part two, but here we go. So the first one is why did you start making your podcast? And I started the podcast originally just because it's something I'd always wanted to do. I always had like things in my head that I wanted to talk about, and I had this enormous watch list of like films and comics and the whole like watch list to be read pile, all this sort of thing. And so I wanted to get round to it, and I thought the podcast would be a way of motivating myself to do it and to actually go and collect all these things, but then also give me an opportunity to talk about it. And it's like, even if the engagement is small, which it is, but it seems to be quite a loyal engagement that I've got, which I'm so grateful for. Um, and yeah, it just keeps me coming back to it because it's really good for mental health. It's something to look forward to. It's something I'm doing just for me, and that's great. So, second question, what are my major fandoms? I think it's obvious if anyone listens to the podcast. My big fandoms seem to be Star Trek and Marvel. Those are definitely two of the biggest. I'm also a fan of Star Wars and DC, just not as much. Marvel specifically, it's more the X-Men rather than the Avengers, but I also am a big fan of Spider-Man as well. Beyond that, video games, there's Mass Effect, Cyberpunk 2077. Huge fans of both of those series. I've recently gotten into Doom and absolutely love it. I used to play Resident Evil quite a lot. Um, Beyond that, also um, Sonic the Hedgehog. Huge fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. And Power Rangers. I used to love Power Rangers as a kid. Still love it. I've watched at least something from every series of Power Rangers. That's why I chose it as my 75th episode and put this huge episode out for the podcast. I was a big fan of Power Rangers. How long does it take to make an episode? I've actually written this down and I was working it out. It can take a while. Like, for every hour of the podcast that I make, there's probably about 10 hours that goes in behind the scenes, both watching or reading or whatever the content, um, then obviously recording it, creating the video as well. That takes a huge amount of work because it's like, even though I'm only using like an image slideshow, I have to find the images I want. I have to um, trim them, put them in the frame, then actually render the episode, compress the episode. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's work I actually quite enjoy doing, and when I actually motivate myself to do it, and I am quite proud that I'm doing it all myself. Um, so yeah, like I could speed it up if I got an editor in or someone like that, but at the minute I'm not making a profit. I don't have the funds to do that, and I'm quite proud of the fact I'm doing it all myself. Number four, who are my co-hosts? My co-hosts are Tallulah and Zulu. They are my partners. I'm polyamorous, openly polyamorous, and the three of us are all in a relationship together. So I've been with Tallulah for 10 years, over 10 years now, actually, 2012. So, yeah, nearly 12 years soon enough. No, 2012, 2013. 2013 we eventually got together. I've known her since 2012. Um, so, yeah, 11 years this year. And Zulu and I recently celebrated our fifth anniversary. So that was pretty cool as well. They were two of the people who were like forefront in my mind when I was making the podcast. Like, it was a way of me sharing things I like and info dumping. Um, at them in the way that they kind of gotten used to, but I could give them it kind of like as a focused speech on different topics. So that was quite fun. So getting them involved was fun. I enjoy having them guest in episodes when they're able. What have been my highlights of the podcast so far? Um, my biggest highlights have been um, sort of going over things that I hadn't experienced. Like one of my favorite episodes, because it was a lot of fun and I developed a huge fandom for this property off the back of it, was the War of the Worlds episode that I did, because I'd never read the classic novel. I'd seen the Spielberg film, but I'd never seen the 53 original. I'd was vaguely aware of the musical album, but I never really sat and heard it properly. And I never heard the Awesome Worlds radio drama. So going to experience all of those for the first time and then to actually compare and contrast them, and obviously that then led to me going towards the immersive show. I have plans to actually go and see the Jeff Wayne musical because I've became a huge fan of that off the back of that episode. So yeah, that was a huge high point for it. Also, Final Space, like discovering Final Space and really taking another look at it and really enjoying it, and then obviously the Godspeed pilot that Olin Rogers followed that up with, that was incredible. Absolutely love it. So yeah, that's the first half of this. I'm going to split it. I'm going to do the second one now. So they'll be coming as two separate videos.